Welcome to PENSDOWN. On this program, journalists tell us about their journalism journeys, all that they go through, which they cannot report along with the news. Today, I have been joined by a multimedia journalist who has development journalism as a reporting interest. He has a decade experience in the field of journalism. He is passionate about agriculture, environment, and rural reporting, and these have won him awards in recognition of his contribution to those sectors. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication Studies, Journalism major of the Ghana Institute of Journalism. He currently works with Media General Ghana, operators of TV3, Onua FM, Onua TV, Akoma FM, 3FM, Connect FM, and 3news.com. He has produced and continues to churn out life-changing stories, which have put smiles on the faces of society's less privileged. Ibrahim Abubakar has joined me today. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse.
Right. First of all, you have done 10 years in journalism. Within these 10 years, a lot of your colleagues have left, and even some juniors have also taken refuge elsewhere. What has kept you all these 10 years in journalism?
Well, for me, it's the drive to bring about change. I believe that this is the field that I can comfortably use to bring about a change in society. In fact, personally, for my journalism career, I always tell people that I didn't enter into journalism by choice. I would say I just entered by chance because I've never ever dreamt of becoming a journalist during my tender age. You know, we go to school, they will ask, what do you want to become in future? And the mantra has always been, I want to become a doctor,
a lawyer,
a doctor, and that. Exactly. It's just interesting, but I would say for now, I don't regret entering into this particular field.
But let's look at it this way. There is a lot of attrition. So many qualified, trained professionals are leaving. What do you think is accounting for this trend in journalism?
Well, basically, I would say remuneration is a challenge, a major challenge in this field. People are doing this job and they are not getting what is due them. That's how I'll put it. Because for me personally, I always tell colleagues that this is a job that must pay well if we really want to do the job as expected of us. Because all the time you are thinking, even if you are on leave, even if you are done with the day, you have to think about what you do the next day. So your mind is always working, and it's not easy. And at the end of the day, journalists in the country will say are paid peanuts as compared to what other institutions are paying their colleagues. So you realize that people will be in the field for a while. They excel in the journalism profession, but at a point in time, they have to exit and go into corporate institution. And you ask them, it's about money. They are growing, they have families to cater for, and life must go on. They have to secure their future and that of their own. So basically, mostly I would say it's because of money and also logistical constraint. Because if you want to do this job professionally and deliver on point, there are some basic things that you need in terms of resources to discharge your job. But we live in a country where I would say the job is being taken for granted. People are not investing in it as they are supposed to. So that has been the challenge. For some people, like I said, it's not even about the money, but the resources to discharge their work. So at the end of the day, they have to move on.
Yeah. What stands out as the most challenging assignment you've ever covered these 10 years?
Well, I would say most of these illegal mining reports, especially in recent times. You know, back in the day, we used to move to the field, speak with them. They open up because they believe it's creating employment for other people, even though it's illegal.
Yeah.
But in recent times, because of government renewed efforts to clamp down on these activities, you will still have to do the job, have to go to the field. But the danger is that your life is also at risk, because the moment they see you, they know that after you are done with the report, the security personnel or the authorities will come after them. So it's been very, very challenging, but we have to push through. That is our chosen profession. At the end of the day, we have to serve the public, let them know what exactly is going on. We cannot just say it with our mouth without providing the evidence, such as audio visuals and the likes.
Yeah.
So moving into these kind of areas, very, very challenging for us. But
That
at the
means
end
the
of the day,
people have become much more hostile now.
exactly. Like I said, you move there and they know that the next minute the military or the police will come after them. And they believe that even though you are doing your work, for them, you are also destroying their livelihood. So now, even if you are going and you inform the police, they will tell you, my friend, relax. Let's find out or let's survey the area for you before you go. Even the police themselves are afraid going, though, how much more some of us. But at the end of the day, we managed to go there, we convince you. Just last 2 weeks, I was doing a story on Galamsey. I went to a town in Ashanti region, that's Ahafuano, Southwest, called Kunsu. Now, this place has gradually become a mining hub. It used to be a farming community, but
Is that where the farmer who made news came from? That video of the farmer who said he was going to sell his farm?
Exactly. Exactly. I engage him. But before we even got there, when we got to the Kunsu township itself, and I decided to go into a shop and get myself a Wellington boot, because I realized the footwear with me wouldn't be able to take me to the place. So I decided, hey, let's park here, move to a shop and get myself a Wellington boot to move to the site. Then a lot of the youth just come to us. They said, hey, why are we here? Because they realized my cameraman was also holding the camera, taking few town shots. And they said, no, they will not allow us to take any shots in the community.
Were you in a
because
branded
they know
car?
our mission. Yes, we were in a branded car.
Wow.
And also a branded jacket.
Yes.
And the moment they see any branded media car in the Kunsu township, they know definitely you are there to do stories related to illegal mining activity. So at the end of the day, we had to hold on. They said they have called or they have informed some of their opinion leaders to come and to us before they will allow us to do whatever we want to do. Later, some people came to us. They asked us our mandate in the community, what we are there to do. And we told them, well, we are there to do stories on illegal mining. But we know they are also miners there. But the narrative out there is that they are forcefully taking over people's cocoa farm and other farms to mine. So we just want to find out their side of the story, whether that is true or not. That's how come we were able to calm tempers down And they said, well, then what you are here to do is also fine. They indeed confirmed to us that that is the job they are doing and they are not ready to stop it. But the explanation that they have for us is that any cocoa farm that they invade or they use, they always have to see the owner of the farm and pay the necessary compensation before they work on such farms. So the narrative out there that they are forcing themselves, they are compelling cocoa farmers to sell their farms to them or forcefully taking over farms from cocoa farmers. It's not true. So sometimes these are some of the things we also use to convince them, because initially they didn't want us to move to even the mining field to take any coverage. That's how come they allowed us. Then we moved to some cocoa farms and I met
But the
Chancellor
issue about
Kwesi.
the forceful takeover of their lands, of farmlands, I think it is true, because I saw one video where one gentleman was saying they will offer you an amount you cannot reject. That is number one. Number two, if you turn it down, they will redirect the waterways to come and destroy your land so that you have no alternative than to hand over your land. Was it the same area that person was talking about?
So,
are you aware of this video?
exactly. I interviewed him. So that's where he shot himself in the foot. This gentleman we are talking about is no mean a person than the constituency chairman of the area, MPP. He is the constituency chairman of MPP in the area for Southwest. And you heard him speaking on authority that yes, they are involved in the illegal mining activity, and they convince you with huge sums of money to sell off your cocoa farm to them. And if you reject the money, they will also have to find their way of getting the farm. So they will redirect the water to your farm. At the end of the day, your farm will be destroyed. And you come to them, you even have to come to them begging. Because at that time, your farm has been destroyed, you have nothing to do. So you come to them begging them. Eventually, they will buy the farm and start with their illegal mining operation. So, in fact, in the course of the interview, when he mentioned that, I told my cameraman that, you see, he has even shot himself in the foot, because this is another way of forcefully taking over the cocoa farms from the farmers.
Now, tell me, what is fueling their courage and their daredevil attitude, which is why they seem not to be perturbed by even the mention of military or police or any form of clampdown? What are they standing on? Who is behind them? What do you know?
So this illegal mining activity has a political twist to it. Like I rightly mentioned, the man we interviewed is no mean a person than the whole constituency chairman of the ruling party. Wow. Now, the man even mentioned to me some members of parliament and some MPs who are involved in this illegal activity. So you see where it is coming from. And we have chiefs, people with clout, who are also involved in this illegal mining activity. Let me tell you something. There was that same week, I went on a swoop with the military to some mining sites. Now, during our journey, anytime we get to a site and the military sees some excavators, then the colonel will be having series of calls. People will be calling him from the Jubilee House, from the regional minister's office.
The powers
that was what some officers were telling me. So even the military, they are down-spirited anytime they are asked to go on search troop, because they know that they will go there, seize excavators, do whatever they need to do. At the end of the day, these excavators will find their way back to the mining site. So it's as if we are fighting a losing battle. So we have people with clout, people who the authorities who are supposed to fight it, some of them are deeply involved in this illegality. That's how come it is difficult for us to find. So if you get to the site, what they will tell you is that if we really want to fight galamsey, then we have to start fighting it at the offices, not at the mining site. Because at the mining site, you will go there, you will meet only workers there, people who are there to earn something. So the person does not own the concession. So even if you arrest the person, if you seize the excavators, we are not really doing anything to put an end to it.
Has there been a time in the line of duty that you have been approached with anything material or monetary to compromise some story or the facts of a story you were doing?
I saw on countless occasions, people will call you and they will tell you they heard you are working on this story, so they want to send you something, so you drop it. Because at the end of the day, should the story be aired, at the end of the day, should the story be aired, it will damage their reputation. But for me personally, I will even have I have a story I want to share. There was a story I was working with at Bohu. It has to do with a quarry company, and usually, you know, when they mine, when they want to, well, yes. So the Bohu community will have to bear the brunt because the stones will move far to the community, destroy their buildings, and so on and so forth. So the residents came to us, complained to us that this is what is going on. They have complained to the company countless times, did not hear them. So we went there, do the story, but we had to move to the company to also get their side of the story. Before we even moved there, the residents were saying they are pleading with us not to drop the story because other media houses have come to do similar story, but the moment they enter into the company to get their side of the story, then that will be the end of it. They don't see the story on TV or even hear it on radio. So, and true to their words, when we got there, the man said, no, he will not respond to such allegations that has been leveled against the company. But then he's offering us, I think, 1,000 cedis back then. 1,000 cedis was a lot of money. In fact, at that time, my pay was not even up to 1,000 cedis. But you know what I told him is that all I need is for you to tell me your side of the story. If you are not ready, then we have to go on with the story because this is a story that is bordering on destruction of lives and properties. So you've shown me your documents that you were mining before the residents came. That's fine. So at the end of the day, we will present the fact of the matter from the residents and from your company, and the public will be the good judges. We wouldn't be judging. And that has not been all. Like I said, countless times people will come to you trying to offer. Sometimes, in a way, the person will not even tell you they are offering you the money to hold on with the story. But you go there, they will not react, but they will just send someone to bring you money. And you confuse what you have done because you know that this story is even against such companies or such individuals. But why are they sending you money to sit on a story? But for me, my principle is that so far as it is bordering on lives and properties, if someone's life is in danger, we have to go ahead and do the story.
Apart from galamsey, how many times in the line of duty has your life been threatened?
Well, the one I can easily recall is the Ejra disturbances. In fact, we were there from
your picture is, your video is
to
frozen.
report on what is happening. And along the line, a military man came to me and told me I was saved by grace. In fact, initially I didn't understand what he meant by that. I thought he was just joking. And he said he would have shot me if in fact, as I speak to you, I can't tell you exactly what I did to offend him. The only thing I can say is that perhaps it's the stories that we did. Because he told me that the kind of information that we sent outside painted them black. And that was it. We were there, the military came, they started firing, they shot 6 people, 2 lost their lives, and 4 fortunately survived. So that was what we reported because that was what happened. It was not as if we fabricated stories and churned it out there. So at a point in time, the district police commander even had to step in because he realized the military man was angry, he was coming towards me, and he wanted to attack me. And he stepped in and asked him to exercise restraint because these are media guys who are just doing their work. So that is it. Sometimes we are doing our work. We think we've not done anything to offend anyone. But for me, I always say, whatever story that we do, some people will benefit, others too will feel offended. But at the end of the day, if your conscience tells you that you are doing the right thing, then you have nothing to worry about.
How has social media changed the practice of journalism for you personally?
For me personally, I would say it has even forced me to step up on my game and to deliver on time because back in the days, those of us in the region, breaking news might occur before you send your stories to Accra and your people will get it. It will be 24 hours. So breaking news in Kumasi today will be telecasted the following day. It will be telecasted on TV the following day. But we were content with it because that was the trend. Everybody was moving along that line. But with the coming of social media, something will happen right now and the next minute it is on social media. So if you don't also step up your game, and despite the fastness of information that we get on social media, some people still want to confirm from the traditional media before they will be convinced that it is true or not, because so many people can post just anything on social media.
Fake
People
news
can
is all over.
fabricate issues, and fake news is also on a high on social media. So people will still want to see it on traditional media before they are convinced that this has really happened or this is what is happening. So it has forced us to also re-strategize, at least up our game, make sure that anything that happens within the next 10-15 minutes, it will also get to Accra, so that it will be on TV. Even if you don't have the full details of the breaking story, something should be there for people to know what is happening. So for me personally, I would say it has stepped up my game. It is not posing any threat to me as a journalist. It is rather helping me do better in my work.
Right. You love what you do. Obviously, the passion with which you speak exemplifies it. Are you doing journalism for life, or is there some end time for you?
Well, I don't know what is in stock for me tomorrow. I may switch, but for now, at least for now, for the next 5-10 years, I can say I'll be in the profession. But like we all strive for the best, and sometimes you have to move on and also allow others to take charge. But for me personally, I'm trying to at least mentor 1 or 2 people who I'll always, even if I leave the profession, I'll always look back and say, hey, I'm still in the profession because I have 1 or 2 people that I've mentored to also be in it. So I cannot say it is for life. there's that possibility, because honestly, like I told you earlier, I entered journalism not by choice, but by chance, because when I completed senior high school, the I wanted to move to the university, that's University of Ghana. But
Okay.
unfortunately, the time the forms were out, I was sick. I was hospitalized for a long time. Before I was fit, they had closed selling of the forms and other things. So a friend of mine said, well, since you don't want to be in Kumasi, KNUST is still a CA, you don't want to be in Kumasi, then let me get you forms from Ghana Institute of Journalism. For me, the fact that it is in Accra, because I've spent almost all my life in Kumasi, I wanted to move outside Kumasi, and
you needed a new
specifically the
environment for
capital
change.
city. Exactly. So when he said it's in Accra, I said, oh, then get me the forms. I'll go there. And he was the one who even filled the forms for me, did everything. In fact, I didn't even know. After weeks, a friend of mine just called me that, Ibrahim, have you applied at Ghana Institute of Journalism? I said, yes. Why? She said, oh, I've seen your name in the Daily Graphic that you've been shortlisted for interview. In fact, I didn't even know, because I wasn't a fan of reading dailies, and I didn't even watch news frequently. It was just once in a while. So I quickly went to get a copy. Then I realized, hey, my interview is the next day.
Wow.
I didn't know anyone in Accra. The same person had to come to me, send me to Accra. We went to GIJ for the interview. Then, fortunately, I was given admission. So even whilst in school, I wasn't too into the journalism, because actually I'm more excited in doing IT stuff. Anything computer, I just love doing it. So it was after schooling, then my national service pushed me to TV3. Then I started with the experience and I loved it, because I'm someone who does not want to sit at one place.
Yes, you are not the office type.
For instance, working in a bank, I'm not sure I can work in a bank, sit at one place. So I just loved it, moving outside, seeing how Ghana is, because I then realized that, hey, Ghana is not Kumasi and Accra alone. You move to some places and you say, is this place part of Ghana? And you'll be shocked. So then because initially I thought, well, after my national service 1 year, I'll just have to find something else doing. But before the national service ends, then I said to myself, no, I have to pursue this job further. At least I have to do it for 10 years or more. Because I've begun loving it, and the passion was coming in. At a point in time, the passion just got to another level. So for now, I would say, so far as I'm in the job, that is my principle. Even though I may leave, but so far as I'm still in the job, my principle is to just deliver and deliver my business.
Wow. Are there any golden memories you want to share these 10 years?
Well, for me, when you were introducing, you mentioned that I've won awards, it's true.
Yeah.
But for me personally, the joy in the profession is impacting lives. That is my award. I prefer those ones than the normal recognition. If you do a story about someone and you see positive changes in the person's life, then you get excited. And there is this boy who often comes to my office with the mother. We did a story for him, I think last 2 years. He couldn't, at age 8, he still couldn't walk. He had abnormal limb, he had this congenital limb abnormality.
Okay.
So he couldn't stand, he couldn't walk, and he had to drop out of school because, excuse me to say, he moved like a monkey, both hands on the floor and the legs too. So he had to drop out of school because consistently and people were laughing at him and the rest. Then we pushed, did the story, followed it up, and at the end of the day, we had people supporting surgery. As I speak to you now, he's able to walk normal, and he has gone back to school. And occasionally, the mom will come to me, and she will bring him along. So you see him, and you get excited that, well, you've also done something in your life to impact positively on the life of others. And so many stories related. So some of the memories that I get when I look back, the stories we do that has impacted, you go to a community, they are struggling, accessing water, you do a story, you follow up, then the next day or after a month, you see an NGO or government itself providing water facility for them. You go back and you are excited. You go to a deplorable school, do a story, and a new structure is being erected for them, and you see the kids moving to the new structure. Then you get excited. Those are the exciting moments for me.
Let's talk about Solly.
Very controversial issue. Very controversial.
I tell you, so many points of disagreement, so many points of contention, depending on where you stand. So what is your own take on Solly? I don't want to prejudice anything.
So let me be frank with you. I don't condemn Solly in entirety.
Okay.
There are aspects that we condemn. That is, if you allow the money or the Solly to induce you, you know, some people will go and do a story. If they don't get the Solly, they will tell you, okay, because I've not gotten money, so I'll not do the story. Meanwhile, it's a good story.
Yeah.
Those are, for me, the negative aspect of it. But Stephen, you know, I do a story for you. You just appreciate what I did. You've given me something. I don't charge. Personally, I will not come and sit here and say I've never taken Solly.
Yeah.
I have taken it. But there is no way I will charge you that give me this amount of money before I do this story for you. I do the, sometimes there are some people, you even do the story, you go and do it. After the story comes, they are happy with what you did. They will send you something. It's all, for me, it's all Solly. People will take it. So, you know, the aspect of Solly in journalism, we will call it Solly. But when you move to other maybe corporate institutions or other institutions, they also have different names.
Honorarium.
At the end of the day, the money is, you know, some will say TNT, honorarium, brown envelope is there. Per diem, they are all Solid. Because at the end of the day, it is a job that you did that maybe the person is appreciating what you do. But Stephen, one thing I've also observed in this job, especially in Ghana here, you know, people will pay the Solid because most of the stories we do, I will not take myself out, even though I do a lot of development journalism. But most of the stories myself and colleagues do, they are PR related. There are stories you are promoting someone.
Promotional, yes.
You know, those stories ideally should even be paid for.
Yes, they should come as advertorials or paid publications.
Exactly. Because if someone is, let's say, celebrating 25th anniversary of whatever, or someone is launching his product, someone is commissioning an office.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what is news about it?
Yeah, there's no news value.
We really want to do, there is no news value about it, but the person will be pushing you to come and cover, the person will be pushing you. So definitely they make provision for such stories, because if we want to do journalism, proper journalism, then there will be nothing like Solid. Because you move to a rural community, a deplorable school blog.
Mm.
You are going to do a story there. Who will offer you money? In
That's
fact,
true.
you will even end up spending money because there are some stories we do in the rural communities. We even have to give people money before we get our interviews. By the end of the day, you are excited that you've done something worthy of being telecasted. You go there. So I remember there was a time I had this foreign journalist from Canada. So we went to a mining site to do a story. But before I took them there, I think a month ago, we have been to the same place to do a story about their mining activities and so on and so forth. So after we were done with the story, the owner of I don't know whether it's the manager or the owner of the concession, he gave us something. He said, "Oh, he begs we should take this thing for TNT," even though the story was about distraction. But he thought that we were looking at the angle of job creation and other things. So we took it, we left. So when the Canadian journalists came and they wanted to do stories, I took them to the site because it's a huge place and a number of people are there working. So after we were done with the story, the white man put money in an envelope and gave it to the owner of the pit.
You mean
And
the
he was
same man
asking
who
why.
gave
He
you the
said,
sole in the past?
exactly. So this time around, the white journalist rather gave him money. He said, "Thank you for granting the interview." So he was appreciating the time the guy wasted to interview. So the man was telling me, Ibrahim, you Ghanaian journalists, you rather take money from us. You see, this white man is rather giving me money. And I say, we are not being paid the same. So it's interesting. But like I said, if you want to do proper journalism, then there wouldn't be the element of solid. The stories I talk about, someone who is unable to work, you are doing a story for people to come and support him, a community that has no potable water, you are doing a story for them to have access to potable water. These stories, you wouldn't have, who will give you solid? There wouldn't be,
those are not
you will not even think
assignments.
of getting, you see? So, so those are not assignments, but the ones that are planned assignments, definitely, in fact, the program coordinators will even make provision because they will make provision for that money. So even if you don't take it, they've made provision, they've budgeted for it. So someone will go and chop the money for free. So me personally, honestly, if you give me something, I know this thing is not going to influence my work. It is just an appreciation that you are showing. I do take it. I will not sit here. I know some of my colleagues will say they will condemn Swale in front of camera, but back door, they will take it. And like I said, most people too are not being paid. So they will go for the program. That is where they get their payment to. So for such people, they make even the Swale bad because they will go and fight for it.
Should journalists be licensed?
I think so. It should be just like
the lawyers and the doctors.
the Ghana medical, because this is a job that can make and unmake someone. Whatever you write, whatever you say on the microphone, it can destroy someone. It can also make someone. If you get the wrong information, you cause unrepairable damage. And we do rejoin this, but the first story that has been aired, the damaging one, it's what was taken to people's ear. People will not even see the rejoinder of and we have a lot more people in the system who can even decide to say, hey, Charlie, where the my story mafia, let's do story to tarnish this person's image. I've seen people saying it before. I fought with journalists on it before that, hey, come on, regardless of whatever you are taking. The person is a human, he has family. If whatever you are writing or you are speaking about is a fact, then I don't have issue with it. But if someone will give you money to tarnish another man's image, then you are not being fair to the person. When we say journalist, for the layman, he or she thinks that whoever is working in a media house is a journalist,
including
that
bloggers.
is the understanding of people. Exactly. Meanwhile, we have some people are just presented, they are not journalists.
That's right.
We have categories of people who work in a media house to make it a media house, and we have journalists. But for us, even funeral announcers, that's how come even for most of the radio stations, or some, I will not say most, some of the radio stations, they even bring funeral announcers they will employ them as journalists. And
indeed,
clearly,
when
if
I
the
spoke
person
with
is reporting, you can.
When I spoke with Beatrice Piogabra on PENSDOWN, she also mentioned that nowadays funeral announcers that are good at using the language are beginning to metamorphose into sometimes morning show hosts and other things on radio. And for her, she was saying it's a disturbing trend which really needs to be looked at.
Exactly. So that is a challenge. So the person will sit on a radio and speak how he or she wants. But at the end of the day, we will all be bundled up and say, oh, journalist, this is how they do their job. And the issue of license is very important, because someone can know from senior high school, no experience, he will move to 1 month, 2 months course, then he will come out and he will tell you he's a journalist. Meanwhile, the person cannot even script well. Well, we all upgrade in the job.
That's true.
But I think it must be licensed so that we will be able to protect the sanctity of the job. Is very important. Just recently, I was talking about reputation. So a couple of months ago, I had a call from some students of a senior high school that their headmaster is sexually harassing them. Then I said, okay, we'll work on it. Then some teachers also told me the same thing. But I went to the school, I engaged with the students, but I was very careful, because this is a story that if it gets out there and I do not do my checks well, it is going to bring the man down forever and ever. So that story, in fact, I did a story, but I delayed the story for close to a month. After gathering all the facts, speaking to the man himself, engaging GES, and I also had information about the man's history in the 2 other senior high schools that he taught before coming to. And I realized so then I realized that the trend has been the same. In fact, from teachers to even the senior house masters to GES to the students, they were all saying the same thing. Then I went ahead to do the story, even though GES says it is still investigating the matter. So these are some of the things I was referring to, because there are some stories, if you don't take your time in, because people can also lie about others. They can use journalists to achieve their mission or accomplish their mission. And at the end of the day, exactly, people have interest everywhere. So if we are not careful, that is the difference between, I would say, trained and professional journalists from the untrained ones. The untrained ones, you give the person information now, but they will say it. They will not even follow up and get the side of story from the other person. They will just go ahead and say it. So it's even making the job very, very difficult for some of us, because you go to some place and people, so as for journalists, they you sometimes fabricate stories against people. So they don't know the difference between a blogger, a journalist, a presenter, and even a funeral announcer, and so on and so forth. So I subscribe to that decision. I subscribe to it. Journalists should be registered. At
Licensed.
least it is a profession that needs to be protected.
If we are to roll back the hands of time, some 12 years, are you still going to choose journalism?
Well, I will, because at least, if for nothing at all, there are people I see and I just get excited because of the life-changing stories that we did for them. So that alone, and I'm not sure for now, as I said, I told you, apart from journalism, I would have ventured into IT.
Yes.
I'm not sure my IT job would have been able to bring me this joy, even though maybe financial wise you get the money, but there wouldn't be something you can point and say, well, this is as a result of my work. You see people and you just get excited because um, because of what you've been able to do for them. And sometimes, it's not the money alone. The job itself position you at a place you can access things that even with money, ordinarily you wouldn't be able to access them. Maybe some one or two protocols, and so you also be able to push people to do things that, yes. So sometimes these are some of the things I look back and I get excited, and I'm excited the more because day in, day out, you move to field, you go see places. At least you know that you've been able to cover more than 60% of the country. You've been to places, what, and it also even change how you think. Those ones itself are education on another level, going to see how people live. Sometimes, people will be there and you tell them, we have a community that has no electricity. So it's not true. But if there is no electricity, how can people survive? But we go there and we see it. No electricity, no potable water, and people are surviving. There was a time we went to a community that is not too far from Kumasi. It's one of the 22 communities surrounding Lake Busumchi.
Okay.
It's called Banso.
Okay.
You cannot go there with your car. So you have to park and walk for close to an hour or so. We go to the community, and can you imagine, we saw someone who was as old as 50 years. He told us he has never seen a car before, because he has never gone anywhere. He has been in the community throughout his life. So the only thing they see is the lake and the canoes there. So he has never gone beyond that community to even see a car. So interesting. You see people and you appreciate life very well. So these are some of the interesting things we see, and we get excited.
My final question: with what you have seen on the field of Galamsey, is the fight against illegal mining one that can be won, or we are fighting an already lost battle?
Wow. From where I sit, I'm just hoping that we will be able to win this battle. But at least for the past 2 weeks, places that have been, mining sites that have been, I can tell you that the fight has not even started. If we fought it before, that was back then. that I don't know what happened to that fight, but the fight is yet to begin because people are still destroying water bodies, polluting water bodies, destroying farmlands, forests with impunity. And like I said, big men are involved. People at the decision-making table. These are people who are involved in such illegality. So it makes fighting it very difficult. This week the president was in town. He met with the National House of Chiefs before meeting with the MMDCs. And if you have monitored what is going on, it is just a blame game. Chiefs are blaming MMDCs, MMDCs are blaming chiefs for giving out land since they are the custodians of the land. And you don't know where to go because these are people who can help end this menace. And everybody is throwing shade at one another. And people expect this time around, if we really are committed to fighting this menace, then the president should start acting. The time of saying, oh, I've heard this, I've heard, because if we are to, there should be a caveat that any MMDCE who sits unconcerned for such illegality to thrive in his jurisdiction or her jurisdiction will be fired. Then I'm sure people will start protecting their job by also telling us those who are involved. They will try and fight it. But as we sit, there is nothing going on. It's just talk. We will do this, we will send the military, they will come back. I don't see the commitment, honestly. I don't see the commitment in fighting or ending this menace. This week I was at Bonkwaso, and interestingly, Galamsey is not only impacting negatively on our water bodies and also our environment, it is also seriously affecting the education of the children in most of the mining communities. You move to the various schools from class 4, 5, 6, JHS 1, 2, 3. You go to those classes and it will appear as if girl child education is on the rise because you will see most of the girls there. That is not the case. It is all because most of the boys have gone to the mining sites to mine during class hours. I went to Bonkwa, so I saw it. I met class 5, 6 people at mining sites. You ask them, they tell you they are here to search for gold and earn something because their parents have allowed them to go. So that is a challenge. This canker has impact in so many ways, not just our water bodies, not just our forests and other things. And you go there as if nothing is happening. They've not heard of even the fight against it. And the reason why I'm saying more action must be taken, because recently the military, or I would say, have also stepped up their game in trying to clamp down on this illegality. They go there, seize excavators, burn some mining equipment. Now the miners have also switched. Most of them are no more working during the daytime. They work in the night. From 9, 10, 11, 12, by dawn they are done. So you go there, you not see anybody during daytime, but you realize that still the distraction is going on. That's how come just this week, an assistant headmaster of Patasie fell in a mining pit and lost his life. That mining pit belonged to him. This is a man who is the unit committee secretary for the community.
He's and I'm told the whole community was thrown into a state of mourning because he's a very influential person.
Exactly. So who and who will be fighting it? Because these are people who can say, hey, we will not allow miners to destroy our environment, but they are the ones doing it. So who are you going to cry to come and aid in the fight against it? So until we have that change of mindset collectively, and we also step up our game with the fight, I believe in firing. If you fire 1, 2, 3, the others will sit up and do their job. Because at the end of the day, even if you blame the chief, you as the representative of the president in that locality or that municipality or district, you can do something to stop this thing. So I would say we are yet to begin the fight. We are nowhere close to winning the battle, but it is possible. We believe in the can-do spirit. We cannot just throw our hands in despair and say we've lost hope entirely. For now, we want to see action being taken. At least we are looking, maybe in the next, if they give themselves 3, 4, 5 years to end it, it's better, because it's something you cannot just end it ASAP. It will be very, very difficult. But we want to see more action being done than the talk.
Ibrahim Abubakar has been my guest on PENSDOWN today. And he is a grounds person, he's a field person. Within the political terrain, we'll call him a foot soldier. He knows the issues because he has touched base with the reality. So when he talks them, he speaks from a very well-informed standpoint. Galam say, illegal mining, that is, if you're not Ghanaian and you don't understand that, it is wreaking havoc within the Ghanaian vegetative cover. And it appears the lip service is more than the actual work to clamp down on the perpetrators, because there are more powerful hands behind the scenes doing the damage than the small boys and girls, quote unquote, who are seen on the fields. My brother, thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse.
Right. This has been PENSDOWN. We'll be back next time with another colleague. We shall be talking their journalism journey. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.